Hello, human listeners. This is Josh Rosenberg, fellow Homo sapien, providing this podcast for you. I appreciate you selecting this for your listening experience today. I'm coming to you live in my bedroom in San Rafael, California. That's in the United States of America, one of the countries on planet Earth, one of the land masses that we have labeled on this floating rock of mystery. What are we doing here? I don't know. How long are we going to be here? No clue. But let's figure out some shit today on episode 256. Yeah, damn right. I mean, you're motherfucking damn right. Let's get the profanity out of the way. I don't want it looming in front of me where I'm chasing it and I'm chasing the next swear word. Let's just get it out of the way and clean it up. Let's go from R down to PG-13. Take it down to PG at times. Let's check in. How we been? What is it, June? It's June. Summer is upon us. We're getting ready for the end of the school year. We're starting to make plans, huh? Starting to feel that vitamin D hit the skin. Ooh, shit, that feels nice. That feels real nice. Yeah, as we wrap up the school year, it's interesting. I'm still teaching right now. I feel like we all have summer mindset. But 'tis the season for self-sufficient projects. Hey, kids, here's a project. Why don't you organize your time to the best of your abilities? You'd think that would be a nice thing for a teacher. But it gets a little boring. And I know that's what the students might say at times. It's getting a little boring. Well, then, let us out. How about that? I'm thinking September 1st to the end of May. But that's just me. No one asked me to attend the schedule committee meetings. I don't know. I do know you got to try to keep their interest and continue keeping their interest and keep their interest. So we bring in the Vietnam guest speakers at the end of the school year. Ernie and Donald, both in their late 70s. They served in the Vietnam War and they are courageous men. They're wonderful men. And these two guys have been doing their presentations to classrooms for about 20 years. And I have 5 classes sit through the same presentation each and every year, so it's usually a little repetitive, but amazing at the same time. The one thing that keeps it fresh is the fact that their memories sometimes change a little bit here and there, and when they open it up to questions, you never know what's coming. I mean, most of the teens are like, what was it like to be in combat? How was it to miss your family? You know, these general questions that elicit some pretty good answers. But the last presentation of the day, my last class meeting with Ernie and Donald, 2 wonderful, brave men who fought for this country. They bring artifacts. They bring some war materials, some war stories. And then any questions. And every teacher, when it comes to any questions, gets a little nervous. Uh-oh, what are they going to ask? One of my students raised his hand, and for the first time ever, I had a student say, hey, guys, did you have any romantic experiences out there in Vietnam? And I went, oh, shit. Uh-oh, what? And I was like, am I dreaming? I was delirious, obviously a little sleep deprived, but I'm like, no, he really asked that question. He just said, hey, guys, took it away from combat for a moment and said, did you experience any relationships, any romance out there? And my man Ernie jumped in and he's like, none that I didn't pay for. And I'm thinking, oh, it's now a prostitution conversation. Hey, what the hell? It's after 3 p.m. on a Friday. Let's get weird. And I'm like, I could jump in and say, I'm not sure that's appropriate. But instead I was like, let's see where this roller coaster goes. And it was good. Ernie starts talking about what it was like to find a girlfriend in Hanoi. And I was like, this is the kind of raw, memorable Vietnam War education that I couldn't provide on my own. That's why you got to speak to the people who lived it, the survivors, the vets. I mean, truly, I was hyping it up. I was like, look, I could teach you about the Vietnam War. We could watch a few movies, documentaries, read some primary sources. But when these fellas come in, buckle up. Donald, he has all these photo albums, couple of dud grenades that he likes to hide in their bags. We're having fun. We're having a good time. Hey guys, any romantic relationships you'd like to report on in 2025? And I thought they would be like, no, we're just here to talk about the war. Not Ernie. Ernie will let you know how the whores were overseas. And I respect that. I really do. Anyone who's hiding anything at this point, you're doing yourself a disservice. You know you don't want to stay bottled up until the end. These guys are in their late 70s. They've seen it all. They're not so buttoned up where they're just going to conceal the good stuff. And is that the good stuff? Yeah, let's admit it. That's the good stuff. So I'll tell you what, when you have a first grader going to school, you gotta check their clothes so there's no static underwear hanging off the back of their jackets. You know the old song, when you have a first grader wearing her fleece sweater and she goes to school and mom's underwear is stuck to the back of her shoulder. It's gonna be embarrassing for the whole family, but sometimes that shit happens. Have you heard that before? Have you experienced that before? Because it's now my fear in the world of laundry. And I know what you're thinking. Bro, you got to step up your dryer sheet game. We use dryer sheets. But my daughter went to school, and I believe there were a pair of panties connected to the back of her jacket. Now you're thinking, shouldn't you have seen that before? When we get out of the door in the morning, you can't check everything. Brush the teeth, brush the hair, sunblock, eat your breakfast, pack the bag, water bottle with ice, and then I got to throw on my clothes. So we don't always check all the loose ends, and we might have missed that one. But hey, let's all just forgive. What, do you got to hold that over my head forever? Why so judgmental? If you and me are going to connect on this podcast, we can't be so judgmental. We can make mistakes. We can say what we want from time to time. I mean, we got to be guarded here and there, but I think it's a symbiotic relationship where I just shared something, and now you can share something. Say it out loud. I can't hear you, but I want you to say something. A skeleton in the closet. Why don't you reveal it? In the next year of your life, why don't you tell someone something that you've never told anyone? That's what unintentionally or inadvertently, big words, happens in a therapy session. With the therapist I have been seeing for the last, 12, 13, 14 weeks, sometimes I say something and she responds, have you ever said that before? And I go, no. She senses that I'm saying things for the first time. That's what self-inner work is all about. When you kind of trace back the history of your own life and you're like, wait, how do I think about that? How do I make sense of that time in my life? What was the impact of that relationship? How do I make amends? How do I heal? And then this woman, I'll promote her. Her name's Allison Waugh, Waugh. If you're in Marin County or the Bay Area and you're looking for a therapist, tell her I sent you. Let's build up her clientele. But she's amazing. She really does. She helps me find those behavioral patterns. And I find myself saying things I've never said before. In 43 years, you say something you've never told anyone before. It feels good. It's liberating. And then that it's out, then you can feel the weight come off of you. A little bit. You know what the opposite is? Just keeping everything in your cells. Some people disagree that you need to accept everything as it is, accept everything. Some people are like, no, you could be proactive about trying to right a few wrongs. And I understand the Buddhist approach, acceptance. But sometimes acceptance means you're just going to plateau and this is how it is. I guess I'll just ride this wave until the grave. Now we're rhyming, but I kind of like the idea of no. Let's address some shit. Let's lean into the pain. Let's make it sting a little bit. All those topics, those shameful topics that you don't want to jump into, let's feel them. Yeah. Let's feel those a little bit. I feel like that's American history a little bit. A lot of shame. If you really teach U.S. history and you're like, all those native tribes that were here and then wiped out, and then we created our little towns with our electrical grids and our Wi-Fi and our restaurants and stores and banks and gas stations, and we paved paradise and we put up some schools and neighborhoods. Yeah, it's okay if you feel a little guilt. I mean, we could celebrate America every day and be a true patriot and feel that jingoistic nationalism, but honestly, for a moment, it's okay if you're like, that shit's kind of ugly. Yeah, it's okay to feel uncomfortable when you learn about the history of your own life, your family, your country. It's okay. It's the duality of what's happening. You're allowed to feel good and bad in the same lifetime. You're allowed. You probably should, actually, now that I think about it. But what did we do? We, and I'm saying this as an American, arrived, a bunch of European explorers looking to expand, new land, new colonies, new money, new resources, new raw materials. But there's one thing in the way, and that's other humans who live differently. These indigenous people are slowly going to be wiped out. You call it a genocide? Is that a strong word? A systematic removal of a group of people? Doesn't sound too strong. It sounds accurate. So a genocide by our forefathers and our ancestors, and then we plant the flag and keep going westward, manifest destiny. This is God's plan. This is our divine right to keep going and going and going from sea to shining sea. And I teach it and I learn it and I teach it and I learn it. But I had a question. Why? And this is a real question that I've been thinking about for about a year, maybe 2 years. Why have we named so many things after native tribes? These groups that were just absolutely mistreated, removed, killed off. And now we have universities who call themselves the Seminoles, Florida State, or the Utes of Utah, or the Chippewas of Central Michigan. What'd you do? You went back and you're like, well, this territory right here, it used to belong to this tribe. And even though we killed them and ruined them and removed their traditions and tried to whitewash them and force them to assimilate and relocate them, when it comes to our football and basketball games, we want to cheer for the Chippewas. Can you please fucking help me understand that? Even the summer camp my girls go to, Camp Miwok, this whole territory I'm living in right now. This used to be coastal Miwok territory, but the American engine steamrolled right through that, and now I'm living in an area we call Terra Linda that is completely urbanized with this American culture that's just normal to my eyes, so I don't really question it all the time. And then we name our little summer camp Miwok. Hey, these are the cute little Miwoks. Give them a shirt. And I know some teams are changing, like the Cleveland Indians are like, no more Cleveland Guardians. Washington Redskins, now the Commanders. So it's slowly happened where some of these teams are changing. But think about all the towns. Think about all the states. Do you even know what these words are when we say Kentucky, Dakotas, Alabama? You're like, are these English words? What are these labels? When we say the names of our states, what are we even saying? Most of them are commemorating the tribes that were wiped off of them. And this is a question for ChatGPT, because I don't know. I mean, I could give you a guess, and it's kind of trying to be like, we're still honoring their traditions, but taking over. And if genocide was what the Nazis were doing, wouldn't that be like if Hitler and the Nazis, who were systematically trying to kill off the Jews and other groups deemed inferior throughout the Holocaust, what if then they had a professional baseball league and they're like, our favorite team is the Jews? You'd be like, you named your team the Jews? Just like we named our team the Seminoles at Florida State, and then we packed the stadiums to cheer for the Seminoles? I genuinely don't get it. Is it remorse? Is it a weird way of like not feeling full shame? Because we're like, well, at least we honor their tradition at the Braves games with a little, oh. I grew up watching TBS, Turner Network, all the Braves games. And if the game was exciting, here comes Ron Gant to the plate, Terry Pendleton, Steve Avery, Tom Glavine, Greg Maddux, John Smoltz, Damon Berryhill, Mark Lemke, Jeff Blauser, Sid Bream, Andrew Jones in center field. I think Otis Nixon was there, Deion Sanders. Why can I name so many Atlanta Braves players? Because it didn't used to be every game's on at once. You just used to get some Cubs action on WGN and some Braves action. And when I saw the whole stadium stand up and go, oh, chanting like they are natives, I just went, okay, I guess that's normal at a baseball game. That is highly abnormal, folks. That is highly abnormal. All right, I'm typing it into ChatGPT. My wife got me on the app, and at first I was resisting, and now I'm like, wait, there's so much shit I don't know, but I'm a curious kiddo, so I'm going to type it in. Why do we name so much shit after native tribes when there was an attempt to remove all of them? And I'll type that in. Because this is interesting how artificial intelligence, here I am, not artificial, having the thought, but I'm like, I kind of want to hear from the robot. I'm going in that direction, folks. I'm putting my toe in the water, a little AI. It says number 1, cultural romanticism. Okay. Using tribal names, native words to give places a sense of mystery and adventure. Okay, it also says geographical accuracy. Many towns, rivers, lakes, mountains kept their indigenous names. So it was already called Chicago, Mississippi. Oh, we didn't change them. So I guess when it comes to team names, we like the qualities of bravery, strength, fierceness, market and identity more than honoring a tribe. And then ChatGPT says this is less about respect and more about settlers shaping identity and placing labels on their own terms. On their own terms. We'll build the baseball stadium. We will make sure that this is the sport people play. And then, we'll capture a name that sounds fierce. The Atlanta Braves. And all these words we say. Iowa, named after the Iowa people. Missouri, named for the Missouri tribe. Dakota, named for the Dakota Sioux. And then I'm just giving you ChatGPT. What a hot podcast. What a modern podcast. It says colonists misunderstood or mispronounced native words. For instance, Massachusetts derived from local Algonquin words meaning near the Great Hill, referring to the Blue Hills near Boston, or Connecticut, meaning long tidal river. Here's all the states: Alabama, Arizona, Kansas, Nebraska. I don't have to name the states. What am I doing? Are you bored? Don't be bored. This will heat up. But it's in exploitation, removal, erasure, not respect. But we just sit back and I'm about to burp. Hold on. I got to lean away. Not into the mic. But there's just so much. I think we're always going to be uncovering things that were not previously questioned, and now we question them a little more. And I guess that's considered woke if the young people are doing it. Like, we don't use that word anymore because we trace back the roots of it and we don't like it. And the old people go, but we've always used that word. What's the problem with it? I don't think we're going to see states change their names, but we're already seeing teams change their names. And if buildings are named after historical figures that become, shittier as we study them, as Drake High School becomes Archie Williams High School, there's going to be so many more instances of that. All the high schools throughout America and colleges that either have a Native American team name or they're named after a previous president or political figure or an explorer, in the next 100 years, they'll all change. They'll just be called University with Buildings. And what's your team name? The Players. Where do you go to college? I go to University with Buildings, and we can't wait to see our basketball players on Saturday. And that sounds a little generic, but that's where we have to go because we mustn't offend. God damn it. And even saying God damn it offended, I guess, a few people. We teach our kids don't say God. Isn't that weird? Like, my daughter's 7, and we kind of have trained her to not say, oh my God, say, oh my gosh, or oh my goodness. Why not, though? Why not say, oh my God? Is that saying it in vain? I don't know. If I say Jesus, is that offensive to some people? If I'm like surprised and I just go, Jesus, what the hell? Saying hell, are these bad words? All this biblical shit that has shown up in my profanity. Holy moly. Okay, I'm putting ChatGPT away. Goodbye, ChatGPT. All right, we're not here to chat anymore. We're here to fight you. But all the modern advancements and all the tech, I still think that we have a thirst for just the medieval human contact, human condition. Like, there was the end of the year school rally at TL, and it was nice. It was a good rally. And at one point, the rally organizers were just like, it's time for the tug-of-war. Will the sophomores come down to the court to face the seniors? And I'm like, tug-of-war? Huh. Something that could have been done in like the late 1600s. It's now 2025, and all these kids are on TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, and they're techie AirPods in their ears at all times. But I never saw an entire school so focused on a tug-of-war. You are going to tug on this side of the rope with all of your strength. And the other team, you're also going to tug on the rope. Why is that so watchable? As we'd advance so much in tech and all this innovation, it's still like, if I see people tugging on a rope, you're tugging it that way, you're tugging it that way, I can't look away. That's the most exciting shit. Why is that? We think we've advanced so much, but we still have that primal urge. When we watch MMA, like UFC, I don't actually watch it anymore, but there was probably a 2-year span of my life when I was like 20 to 22 where I enjoyed UFC combat and I wanted to see just a nasty knockout, a gnarly knockout. I wanted to see a guy unconscious in the octagon. God, who was I? But isn't this traced back to how people used to go see gladiators, go fight a lion, or even people still go see bullfighting? Bullfighting, you could be on Snapchat. You could be on Facebook swiping videos, but instead you went to see a bull get stabbed with a sword. And guess what? I hate saying this. I kind of get it. Even when I teach about like public executions throughout history, the French Revolution, all these beheadings at the town square, who would show up for this? Hey, it's my lunch break. I got to get back to work later, but they're beheading one of the kings publicly. Should we go? Yeah, I guess so. Let's get good seats. Grab me a coffee. Could you grab me a croissant and just a little half and half, no sugar in my coffee. And then let's watch the king get his head guillotined off. People watch that shit. Thousands of people came out to watch it. And I can't condemn history. I mean, I can. I could very much condemn a lot of history, but that aspect of who are the people in the crowd who are just like, you know what? I see there's a nice front row seat on StubHub, Plaza Mezzanine, Section 1, seats 3 and 4 to watch a head come off a body. Yeah, I'd like to catch that and then just go back to work. And what was work back then? In the late 1700s, what was your job? Should I go back to ChatGPT and say, what were some jobs in the late 1700s? Aren't you kind of curious? I can't name one. Teacher, I guess. Something religious, probably. Hold on. Let me ChatGPT the shit out of this. All right, we're done with tug-of-war. Now back to tech. What were some jobs in the late 1700s? Say your guesses out loud, folks. All right, you ready for this? Here we go. God, it works quickly. Blacksmith, they made tools. Cooper, they built barrels. Cobbler, they repaired shoes. Carpenter, they build homes and furniture. Why the accent? I don't know. Sounds like something you would do in Chicago. Silversmith, hey, my cousin was a silversmith. Really? What did he do? I mainly worked with silvers. Printers, tailors, tanners. What's tanner? Oh, treated animal hides for leather. Okay, so they took a break from being a tailor, a tanner, a printer, a silversmith, a carpenter, a cobbler, a farmer, a miller, a fisherman, a trapper, a lawyer, a clergyman, and then you watched a beheading. Why? Because we just have that primal shit within us. And then we also have this intellectual spark. What do they call it? The big mystery? I don't know. They don't call it the big mystery. I just made that up, but we still don't know why we have this sense of consciousness that continues to ascend and ascend and ascend and ascend. Breathing in. Everyone take a breath right now. And out. Okay. I actually feel better after that breath. I've actually slept well for the last 2 or 3 nights. When I say well, I'm getting close to 7 hours and I'm taking nothing. I'm not even taking melatonin right now. Is it prayer or is it just I'm trying to release myself from the fear of the bed? Oh, that bed is a nightmare. And I'm just trying to do different self-kindness approaches where it's okay. Hey, Josh, you're having an undesirable feeling. It's okay. That's okay. Actually, let me read this. This might help some people because we're so conditioned when we have an undesirable thought or a feeling to get so pissed and so upset. I go, I don't want to feel this. I hate this. Give me a medicine. But there's a new way I'm trying to approach life. So used to be, you know, those shitty feelings, shitty thoughts. They churn around inside you and you ruminate and it keeps you up at night. That's most of us. That's most of the planet, how people deal with negative thoughts. You ruminate and they travel down well-worn paths to those familiar negative conclusions and you just stay in a loop. It's a shame spiral. So I'm a therapist. I'm giving her a lot of promotion. She says, feel everything with compassion. And I'm telling her things that bother me. I'm like Larry David in therapy. You know what else bothers me? And she's like, it's okay. That's okay if that bothers you, but feel it with compassion. Understand that you're allowed to feel those things, accept it. And then if you understand it and you're kind to yourself, then you get to open up new pathways. Just because you feel like shit. You feel worthless having that thought? You're too sensitive? Is something robbing you of a calm mind right now? Well, it doesn't mean it's true. So it's just a process. Accept your feelings to a certain extent, but then just comfort yourself. So every thought you have, I mean, unless you're having criminal thoughts, you should probably not kill yourself, but you should probably, if you're having like real criminal thoughts, you should probably just, walk into a police station and put your arms up and say, I'm worried that I'm going to act on criminal thoughts. But this is more mild, what I'm saying right now. The more mild stuff, the mean thoughts, the self-hatred thoughts that we all have, those you could just try to package differently and say, I like this. I'm okay with who I am. It's compassion. Be mindful to be kind to yourself. We're learning so much shit. And you know what? If that doesn't work, then now we could just genetically modify everyone. You want to play piano better? Now there's something like a contraption you could put on your hands, and when they touch the keys, you can play piano. You want a better voice? What talent do you want? Yeah, you swallow this, it goes into your vocal cords, and all of a sudden you could sing. I think that's where we're going. In the next 100 years, humans are going to be so easily manipulated by tech and being programmed by modern medicine that we're going to be like in between AI and Homo sapiens and natural Homo sapiens. Like, you want to lose all that weight? Take Ozempic. You want to gain all that muscle? Here's more anabolic steroids. We'll just legalize everything. What do you want? You want to be smarter? Here's a brain chip. We'll just insert ChatGPT into your brain so you could recite all the knowledge you want. If this sounds Black Mirror-ish, like in the not too distant future, it's true. It's coming. All this stuff is coming. Think about one thing you don't like about yourself right now. Your height, you could be taller soon. What do you dislike? Your skin? Oh, come on, that's going to be easy. There's going to be a serum that you put all over your skin and it'll be glistening and radiant soon. What do you not like? The thoughts you're having? Hey, take this. Beta blocker, SSRI, benzodiazepine, barbiturate, opiate. Take this drug. You won't have those thoughts anymore. Where do you want to be numb? You want to be numb? What do you want? Less of a unibrow? Let's think about all the shit that keeps us up at night about ourselves. You're not sexy enough? Here, take the sex pill. You're not doing well in the dating world? Hey, here's a robot. Go have sex with a robot. I guess that actually does not sound futuristic. Go have sex with a robot? Jesus Christ. That's all you got for me? It's like Chris Rock's joke. For blind people? You're giving me a dog? Guide dog for the blind? Oh my God. You're giving me a dog? You didn't do anything to try to fix my retinas and corneas and my lenses to make me less blind. You just gave me a Labrador? I think that's a Chris Rock joke. Or he said, I can't walk and you gave me a wheelchair instead of trying to fix my legs. I didn't say I couldn't sit down. You put wheels on my chair. Chris Rock is funny. Sometimes I think he's just smart, but he said some funny stuff. Chris Rock is politician smart. There are so many comedians. I just wish anyone from Bill Burr to Chris Rock. I'm just run for office. You're smarter than all these dumb shits in the world of politics. Absolute dumb shits. Should we end this one? I think so. I'm running out of steam and I want to do some push-ups and then flex in the mirror. So I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to say I love you all. Let's get ready for a healthy summer. Let's all get in shape. And if you don't want to, take a pill. Take a shortcut. Shortcuts available now in America or in the next 20 years. All shortcuts available. I don't know. Is that a good thing? Probably not. It sounds like a bad thing, but it's just sometimes you just got to accept it. Just got to accept it. All right, folks, that's my time. You're going to like your headliner tonight. He comes to you from the Algonquin tribe. He's part Sioux, part Dakota. Nope. Not a lot of Native American stand-up comics. Maybe a few. But if comedy is the world of feeling pain and expressing pain through a different scope, I would like to see more Native American comedians. There's a lot of Jewish and black comedians talking about their intergenerational traumas through the form of jokes. We need all marginalized groups to grab a mic, and if you're funny, teach us about your issues through stand-up. I got tickets to go see Renan Hirschberg at the Punchline in July. I'm due for some comedy. Now I'm just rambling. All right, leave a nice rating. This one's in the books. I'll talk to you soon.